proposals that were brought to the National Assembly, exercise we did on public participation was not an exercise in futility. And those people that are using our road more and causing TNA on our roads should contribute more towards fixing those roads.
Ladies and gentlemen, where is Kimani Kuria? Kimani Kuria is the Member of Parliament of Molo. Kimani Kuria is one of the closest associates and closest members of Parliament to President William Ruto. Kimani Kuria has been used by President William Ruto not once but twice to pass the finance bill of this country. Kimani Kuria, after the finance bill 2024 that was rejected, he has gone underground and nobody knows where he is. Actually, I've not seen him being interviewed in any of the platforms of either Citizen TV, where he used to go most of the time, and even any other mainstream medias of this country. So therefore, where is Kimani Kuria? On this video here today, I'm going to dissect it clearly where this gentleman went and why he left, why actually is missing in action. But before I take you through, if this is the first time you're watching my videos, please make sure that you subscribe, like and comment, because that is the best support you can always give this channel. Please let me give you 2 seconds to subscribe before I proceed. Thank you so much for subscribing, and God bless you for that. Now, number one, and the reason is this. First of all, let me tell you that Kimani Kuria was at the center of the passing of the Finance Bill 2023 and as well as Finance Bill 2024.
Kuna hayo mambo ambayo yamekuwa yakielezwa, mambo ya taxes na mambo ya taxes ya wakulima. Na saa zingine kuna watu ni kama sijui wanavuruta bangi ama sijui wanafanya nini. Wamesema ati kuna tax imewekwa ya avocado. Mimi hiyo mswada ya finance bill naijua kama the back of my hand, kwa sababu hiyo bill ni mimi niliweza kuipitisha bunge.
And actually one of the reasons as to why this gentleman is missing in action, it's because of the finance bill 2023 and 2024 majorly. What do I mean by this? The passing of the finance bill 2023 was so much controversial. Why? 95% of the Kenyans rejected it. And Kimani Kuria came and said on social media and in mainstream medias that he is going to consider the Kenyan views. But when it was being passed, most of the things that were rejected by the common Mwananchi were still there. Which means the public participation that he participated immensely did not make sense to him because he did not consider the opinions of the Kenyans. We even had him ask various professionals across the country, but none of them he felt like was important to consider in the finance bill amendments. Ladies and gentlemen, Finance Bill 23 was passed, and indeed it made until today most of the Kenyans to be at pain due to the huge amount of money that is moved from their salaries in form of taxes. One of them is the housing, which actually, as we talk now about, well, actually the housing levy, which even up to now as we talk, it has not been well utilized, since we are not seeing the houses that were promised, and even if they are there, just a few of them. Apart from that, during that time, the amount of money that actually was given as housing levy to the government, we realized that it is being embezzled. And at some point, it was even lied to Kenyans that it was going to be a levy, but not a tax, something of that kind. So they were saying it was not a new tax that was being introduced. And they even lied to Kenyans that the money that was being contributed by Kenyans was a saving to houses, and they are going to own those houses at some point in their life.
Housing levy fund will be deducted from them. They don't want the house. At the end of the 7 years, will they get an interest? Because it's like mandatory taxation.
It is not a taxation, it is a savings plan. In fact, it has an added advantage to the contributors of that scheme, because we have made it mandatory that once you contribute 3% of your salary into this fund, your employer has to match another 3%. And therefore, at the end of the 7 years, you have the leeway to withdraw from the fund. And if you do, you get the money that you've saved back, plus all the interest that you have accumulated.
But the fact remains, after that, we have not seen those houses, Kenyans owning them. Indeed, even recently, the Cabinet Secretary for Housing came out and said that that money was a tax and it was not a levy the way it was being alleged before by Kimani Kuria, after being sent by President William Ruto to face the public. So therefore, that shame of the pain that Kenyans are experiencing, of the lies that they created to Kenyans, has made Kimani Kuria to go silent and disappear. And where did he disappear to? There are allegations that Kimani Kuria went to relocated to the United States of America, and the United Kingdom, and probably might even not come back to vie for the Molo MP once again. So such kind of a shame is what actually made him to disappear. Second is the Finance Bill 2024. Finance Bill 2024 it was so much controversial because of even the Finance Bill 2023. Kenyans went to the streets, especially the youth, to protest against it. Kimani Kuria came up front and made some sentiments that were really controversial and annoying to Kenyans. One of them, it was like, if you're not able to pay the car tax, then stop driving your car. Such painful sentiments towards a suffering common mwananchi. Kenyans really attacked him. And this gentleman, as we speak today, he's really ashamed because Kenyans went ahead to demonstrate, and despite the killings that occurred in the parliament buildings, Kimani Kuria still pushed the bill in parliament and it was passed.
The rejection of this bill will make our content creators worse off than they are in the current provisions of the law.
Kenyans say no across the country, seeing demonstrations right, left and center. Rex Masai was killed. More other Kenyans were killed, youths in this country. Kimani Kuria, being a youth, he did not at any point consider what these people were saying. He kept quiet. They remained ignorant to an extent that they passed the bill without considering the common mwananchi's opinion. And indeed, Kenyans died in the parliament buildings as Kimani Kuria was leading the team in parliament to pass the Finance Bill 2024. When all these things happen, you bring them together, you can realize there are tangible reasons for Kimani Kuria to disappear from the public completely. Because he feels ashamed. Where can you go and even enjoy yourself with your family when you helped pass a bill that resulted to the killing of Kenyans? Very painful. Apart from that, there's a gentleman in Molo whose name was President of Molo. This is one guy who campaigned for UDA at some point. But later on, when UDA turned worse, he started campaigning President William Ruto. Kimani Kuria being one of them. This gentleman literally championed the interest of the people of Molo. He actually even vied for an MCA. He was a gentleman from Siaya region. So this gentleman, at some point, he got threatened by the alleged people close to Kimani Kuria. Eventually, this gentleman got killed.
This morning, we've woken up to the sad news of the death of a great young man, a youth leader, a trailblazer, and a community mobilizer.
He got murdered, and Kimani Kuria was implicated. People were saying, we know the people who killed him. And people were saying all over that Kimani Kuria could be linked to that killing. So, gentlemen and ladies, the fact is that these kind of allegations in politics are very painful. As a leader, it's not easy to take them. Being a person of that age, it's going to be easy for him to sit down and face this kind of allegations. And I don't know whether he had even the courage to visit his constituent. During this time, even we had his house being burnt. I think after the demonstration of the Gen Zs, we had even his house being burnt, showing that even the locals of his place at Molo, were agitated with this gentleman to an extent that they did not want to see him again. So, ladies and gentlemen, Kimani Kuria felt so much embarrassed, and actually in one of the moving sentiments across the social media saying that he said at some point he's a young man, he cannot live in this kind of a life. He feels like he does not need to go through this. He's young, he can start a life elsewhere. So probably he moved his family to the UK and is now winding up his term. Probably in 2027 he may not come back to vie again for the same seat. If maybe William Ruto considers him for another top seat in the government, probably yes, if he wins the 2027 general elections or even before. But the fact is, as was meant today, his public image was seriously tainted. And he does not feel confident to face the Kenyans, more especially after the Finance Bill 2024 and 2023 that he passed without considering the common mwananchi. Lastly, I want to talk about the careless language that he was using. He did not only use the careless language in Finance Bill 2023, but he went ahead even to use it in 2024. He even was rubbishing the sentiments from Kenyans. He looked very, very calm, someone who knows what he's doing, someone who looked like he was very clever, but when it comes to rubbishing the common mwananchi's sentiments, he was number one. I don't know what's your take as far as Kimani Kuria is concerned, but the people of Molo, please let me know in the comment section where your MP is and what he's doing or what he's up to as you speak today. My name is Abel Mukwa. Thank you so much for watching. Please, on the comment section, let me see what you think about this kind of a thing. However, we have to note it here that William Ruto has used most of members of parliament, and that is very wrong. Killing a career of such a young man, it was very bad. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.